I know I've already shared with you a few housing forecasts this year, but this one today was the Utah real estate housing forecast. And I like to go to this one every year because I feel like I get a lot of information that's very Utah specific. And I always want to share that with you. So the first person that we heard from today, and again, I'm referring to my notes, I'll share with you some slides, is Jim Wood from the University of Utah. So he is here very locally in our own environment, our own economy. And he said last year that the median home price for Utah or Salt Lake County went up to $610,000, which is quite high. And he broke all those numbers down for us, looking at like a 6.63 interest rate, I think, and the amount that you'd have to put down to make your payment, all of the things. He estimates that a person would have to have about $180,000 in income, which is really hard for our first-time home buyers to have. So he said that that leads to the condos and the townhomes, the more affordable homes. Their increase in their number of sales, the prices of those went up 8% this last year, whereas single family homes were only up 3%. So that was one of the things he pointed out. If you're looking for a great place to invest, condo or townhome might be a really good option for you. He also said that even in those price ranges, unfortunately, families have to make around $100,000. So it usually means two incomes, and people have to be in the workforce for a little while, which is really unfortunate for first-time home buyers. He did provide a few things that maybe mean the market is going to slow a little bit though. And as far as pricing goes, because our job numbers have not increased as much as they thought they would, the new jobs. So our migration numbers coming into Utah has slowed down just a little bit, meaning things may be a little bit more affordable. So home prices still went up, but the days on market, everything else kind of leveled out to our pre-COVID numbers. And I thought it was really interesting. He said he's only ever seen two things interrupt the real estate market in the way that they have in all of history, economically, the numbers they do. And that was the recession in the 70s. And then the second one was COVID. So it's wild to think that those two things have made such a change for us. But he predicts that interest rates are going to stay between 6 and 7%. So if you're waiting for those to drop, they are probably not going to drop. And then he expects for like the home prices to maybe go 8% for condos. And I'm sorry, I said that wrong. 6% for condos and 2% for single family homes. So just so you know, if you're looking for investments or if you're worried about how much things are going to go up, that's kind of a good indication of maybe where you can watch where you want to put your money. The next was Lawrence Yoon, and he's with the National Association of Realtors. And I've spoke about him before, but he is just a wealth of knowledge because he is right there in DC. And I'm going to share a couple of videos from him as well as a few slides of his. But I laughed because he said, the mortgage rate is refusing to behave. And I think that that's really a good indication, is we want it to be something that it's not. And it just is doing what it's doing. And we just kind of have to adapt from that. He said builders are in a pretty good position because they have a lot of inventory, and that's why they have done so well. But other homes that we're just buying in the market for real estate agents or already existing homes have slowed down quite a ways. 59% is Utah's inflation on homes from pre-COVID to now. That's crazy. He talked about the best way to build wealth, and he gave us a really good slide for that I'm going to show you, is to own a part of America. So if you would like to own a part of America, or if you want to build wealth for yourself, the very best way that you can do that is to own a part of America. So here you go. Here's his net worth numbers between owners and renters. And it's kind of crazy to see here. Let me get in front of you. The difference in, see, the red is renters and then the blue is homeowners. And so if you would like to be wealthy and have an ownership, you have to own. That's the difference between the wealth of the household. The net worth between owners and renters is right there. And so I'm going to share that. I thought that was really interesting. This also showed the household equity, showing homes from, oh man, that was back from 2000 to 2024. So equity is way up. Let's see. He also, we already talked about 59% in home prices increase in the state of Utah, pre-COVID numbers. He talked about, this was an interesting thing. We talked about mortgage rates, and it's showing the Fed cut versus the mortgage rates, showing that they're not exactly trending together as they normally are. So he expects that eventually that will even out. But again, he's kind of at a similar spot where he thinks interest rates are really going to hold. And here is the reason why. See this at the bottom? That's your national debt. So the first blue arrow is when Donald Trump took presidency 8 years ago. The second blue arrow is now. we are in so much national debt that we can't really reduce all these mortgage rates to be able to improve things because we don't have the money to be able to do it. So that's kind of why the mortgage rates are holding. He also spoke a little bit about just getting back into the market again, taking that risk. I have some videos of his that I'm going to share, but he talked about, you know, if you really want to be in that wealth, unfortunately, you're going to have to jump. There are people who bought homes at 12%, and that's how they became in the blue and not in the red. So it's a little scary, but it's something to look into. Not everyone is getting a mortgage. Some people there's a lot of cash buyers still out there. So there is competition. He also talked about capital gains taxes, and that's one thing that the National Association of Realtors is working very hard to do, is to increase those numbers so that people can feel comfortable and are more willing to maybe sell their homes and put those back into inventory. So hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, as always, reach out and I'll share the slides as well on my website. Thanks.